All right, let's get right into it. Welcome, Hastings residents, to your daily hyperlocal explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating update from HastingsNow.com, which just published their Hastings MN weather plus on this date for Monday, July 20, 2026. And wow, we've got a day packed with some absolutely wild weather swings, along with some truly inspiring history to cover. So if you're the kind of person who likes a little bit of everything, you're definitely in the right place.
I absolutely love the weather joke of the day they included. It says, Hastings is getting breakfast thunderstorms and an afternoon heat advisory. Monday apparently ordered the full Minnesota sampler. I mean, it's funny because it is literally so true. Actually, we're going to frame our whole look at today around this idea of a sampler, because you're about to go from one extreme end of the weather spectrum to the complete opposite in just a matter of hours.
Part 1. The Minnesota Weather Sampler. Storms, smoke, and some seriously sizzling heat.
So how is this volatile day going to play out chronologically? Well, your morning commute is honestly going to be pretty messy. We're looking at a 70% chance of rain with thunderstorms most likely right before 9 a.m. Oh, and on top of that, an air quality alert is in effect until 11 a.m. because of some patchy wildfire smoke rolling through. You're also going to feel some southwest winds kicking up at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. But then, it's like a switch flips. The clouds are forecast to clear out and those temperatures are going to climb. And I mean climb fast. That brings us to our afternoon heat advisory, which runs from noon all the way to 6 p.m. with an actual high pushing 93 degrees. Finally, though, we do get some relief. By 11 p.m., expect mostly clear skies, west-northwest winds, and a nice, much-needed cool down to around 69 degrees overnight.
99. Okay, so while the thermometer might technically stop at 93 today, the heat index, what it actually feels like when you factor in all that humidity, is going to push up to 99 degrees. This intense, oppressive heat is going to hit hardest during the early to middle part of the afternoon. When the forecast shows a heat index basically touching 100 degrees, that heat advisory becomes incredibly serious. It's going to feel like walking into a physical wall of heat out there.
So, the absolutely crucial question is, how do we actually prepare for this kind of weather whiplash? As the report lays out, there are a few actionable steps you really need to take today to stay safe. First up, keep that rain gear handy for the morning storms. Second, ditch the heavy layers. You're going to want light, breathable clothing for that scorching afternoon. Third, if you've got outdoor work or maybe sports or you just want to take the dog for a walk, try to limit that strenuous activity during the peak heat. Move it to the early morning or push it to the late evening if you can. And finally, bring plenty of water and please look out for one another. Check in on older adults, kids, pets, and any neighbors who might need a little extra help staying cool. It's definitely a day for community care, guys.
Okay, with our weather survival plan locked in, let's completely switch gears and open up the time capsule for July 20th. Because, as it turns out, this date isn't just about local weather extremes. It actually shares a footprint with some genuinely awe-inspiring historical milestones. Let's use this as a bit of a palate cleanser and see what else our July 20th sampler has waiting for us in the history books. Part 2, 1858, and the civic roots of Minneapolis.
Way back on this exact date, July 20th, 1858, Minneapolis officially inaugurated its town government. This happened 4 years after the initial platting began right over near St. Anthony Falls. Now, according to the National Park Service's River of History, Minneapolis wouldn't actually incorporate as a full-fledged city until 1866. But this specific inauguration was that critical early step that laid the groundwork for what would eventually grow into Minnesota's absolute largest city. It's a pretty cool reminder of how massive communities all have to start with just basic, grassroots civic organization.
Moving on to Part 3, 1968 and the first Special Olympics.
1,000. This number is just staggering when you stop to think about the sheer logistics and, honestly, the immense amount of heart involved here. Nearly 1,000 athletes with intellectual disabilities gathered on July 20, 1968. They traveled from 26 different states and even up from Canada, all converging on Chicago's Soldier Field for the very first International Special Olympics Games.
And the legacy of that day? It's incredibly powerful. This single event in 1968 helped launch a massive worldwide movement centered around athletic opportunity. It is exactly as the source describes it, an uplifting reminder of what can grow from one ambitious community gathering. Just think about that massive transition for a second. From 1,000 athletes in a single stadium to a globally recognized institution fighting for inclusion every single day. And it all sparked right here on July 20th.
And finally, Part 4, 1976, Viking 1 reaches Mars.
Talk about breaking boundaries, right? On July 20, 1976, NASA's Viking 1 touched down safely on the Martian surface. It became the first successful lander on the planet, sending back humanity's very first ground-level view of the red planet. But it wasn't just a fancy camera, it actually carried a fully self-contained science laboratory. According to NASA science, this specific mission established the crucial techniques that literally all future Mars landers and rovers would continue to build upon. We are still riding the wave of the incredible science that happened on this exact date in 1976.
So from the crazy extremes of morning thunderstorms and a 99-degree afternoon heat index right here in Hastings, to the birth of a major city's government, to the global, lasting legacy of the Special Olympics, and even humanity's first successful steps on Mars, July 20th is undeniably a day of monumental variety. It really truly is the ultimate sampler. So as you get ready to head out into the smoke, the storms, and eventually that sizzling heat, I want to leave you with one thought. How will you tackle your own Minnesota sampler today? Stay safe out there, look out for your neighbors, and we'll see you right back here for our next explainer.